Hello, it's me again, Mr. Taylor. I got one more short video for you. I want to talk a little bit about some resources in the textbook that are going to help you out with your synthesis paragraph. And I just want to go over like the major due dates for class and what to prepare for when we meet next Tuesday, when the first draft of your summary and synthesis essay with a writer's memo is due. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you. And we are going to talk specifically about what's going to be due on Tuesday. And so obviously the first draft is going to be due. You're going to be submitting it here where there's the purple icon. You're going to be submitting it here. It should include an introduction in which you synthesize a conversation and identify commonalities and differences between the articles. Also while demonstrating to the reader why the issue is relevant and what's at stake. Then you're going to follow that up with your first summary, your second summary, and then you're going to have your MLA works cited page. The other video, I talk about the MLA format in quite a bit of detail, and so hopefully that'll answer any questions that you have about that. After that, you're going to write your writer's memo, and that's going to be the last part of your essay. I want to point out a couple of helpful resources. Chapter 6 of your textbook on synthesis, I think, is a wonderful chapter. This is something that I've been really needing for first year composition. I'm glad they finally included a chapter that's just about synthesis. And teaching students how to synthesize is probably one of the hardest things for me to do. And you really can't learn how to do it until you actually write it for yourselves. However, you can use a couple of hacks out there. And one of those hacks is that you read some sample synthesis paragraphs. And so at the very end of chapter 6, you have a really good resource that sort of like takes you step by step about how to go about writing a successful summary, or rather, I'm sorry, writing a successful synthesis. And also that there's a number of different types of synthesis. There's some pretty good examples. And what I would do is I would read these sample syntheses. I would study them, the moves, the rhetorical moves that the author is making, how they transition between different sources, and how they go about tying those sources together and finding a common theme. And you can see that there's several different types of syntheses. The first one is about describing the entire conversation, right? That you are defining everything that's been said. And if you scroll down, synthesizing one perspective while stressing commonalities. This one may be useful, particularly useful for the assignment that we're doing in class. This one is synthesizing one perspective while stressing differences within that perspective. And then lastly, synthesizing a variety of sources to support a claim. This one will be less relevant. If you ask me, I think that the second one is perhaps most relevant to class. And so what I would do if you really want to write a excellent synthesis paragraph, that is sophisticated and examines what's at stake while also finding commonalities and defining a theme. Like I would go ahead and I'd read these examples. Also, I have a couple of things to say about the writer's memo. When you write your writer's memo, remember the subject of your writer's memo is the essay that you wrote, right? It's not about how you feel about climate change. It's not about how you feel about climate change being taught in the classroom. Your perspective is valid, 100%, but the purpose of this assignment is to have you reflect on the choices that you made when you were writing your summaries for this assignment. And the reason for that is when we take the time to actually reflect on the work that we have done, research shows that we digest and internalize that knowledge a lot more deeply, and it lasts for a longer amount of time. And so we're having you reflect on the choices you made in your summaries. And so that's what your writer's memo should be about. And when you compose your body paragraphs, please use paragraph breaks. Ideally, you should have 3 paragraphs, and each of those paragraphs is focused on one specific choice that you made. And within that paragraph, what you're doing, you're making an argument. You're not just describing the choice you made, but you're describing the choice you made, and then you're arguing to me why it was effective, right? Like, why did you think it made for an effective choice? Like, why did you think that it would appeal to the reader? Why do you think that it would help you accomplish your purpose, right? So your writer's memo, you're making an argument. I had a student ask me in class, can we use our own opinions within the writer's memo? Yes, absolutely. You have to use your own opinion when you're making an argument. However, your opinions should be centered on the choices you made, like your opinion about why your choice was effective. And so you're going to be using the first person I, right? Like I made this specific choice because it was effective in this specific way. Okay, so that's what your writer's memo is going to be about. It's not going to be a reflection on the subject matter of the articles, but it's going to be a reflection about those summaries that you wrote and the various choices that you made. Okay, so I hope this helps clear some things up. So one more time, just remember the structure and the organization of your essay. It's going to start with your introduction, your synthesis paragraph. It's going to be followed by your 2 summaries. It's going to be followed by your MLA works cited page. And then at the very end, you're going to have your writer's memo. So I'm going to keep this one short. I hope that this has been helpful. And as usual, if you have any questions about the assignment or class or anything else, please don't hesitate to email me. Okay, y'all? I will see you next week in class. I hope you all have a good weekend. You're all staying warm, so on and so forth. Adios.